contract talks with Chelsea themselves have stalled. That's why we're in this position now. It looks as though Mount's future may now lie elsewhere. We heard there from Andy Townsend, former teammate of yours, Scott Minto as well. Both sort of a bit bemused as how we've got to this situation that Mount could well be leaving Chelsea.
Yeah, all ex-Chelsea players.
Yeah.
Me alike. I'm staggered, like Andy said, really. It's really weird that, they've invested all this money in all these transfers in buying players. Mason's just 24. He's an England regular, or was, certainly leading the World Cup. I know he lost his place, but I thought he played really well when he played for England in Qatar. I knew there was issues at the start of the season. There was things going on with Mason that didn't seem right, and Chelsea didn't seem to, wanted to get too involved in negotiating then, and it sort of stayed there. And I don't get it, because think about it this way, and there's Bayern Munich apparently interested as well. So,
yes, that's true.
So Bayern Munich, Man United, Liverpool and Arsenal, you could argue 4 of the biggest 10, 15 clubs in Europe, if not in the world, want him, but Chelsea are not going to push the boat out to keep him. I don't get that. He's a player that is tenacious. He's not the most gifted technically, but do you know what? He's got an incredible attitude, desire to run hard, chase. He'll get his chip in with goals. And I think there's a lot of stuff that Mason does that he'll never be the star, but he'll always be an excellent team player.
Well, obviously, with Chelsea and the amount of players they have there, they have to offload some. So that could be partly why they're more than willing to let him go, if that's how it's going to end up. This season, actually, he's played the fewest amount of games that he's played for Chelsea. Yes, injuries, of course. But since he broke into the squad, he's had played 24 games in the Premier League. And it's also been the less productive of seasons for him as well, only scoring 3 goals and having 2 assists. In terms of where he would be suited, you've mentioned all those clubs that are interested in him potentially. Where would you see him best suited?
Well, look, it's really hard to tell a player or think where a player it's good for, because if you was to speak to all them 4 clubs, then you might come away with a different feeling. You might, I've spoke to clubs and then felt, I'm going to go there. When I went to Millwall, I spoke to Leeds and Ipswich at that time. And the conversation with Millwall excited me the most. And it was local, and that wasn't the deciding factor. Yeah. But Leeds were a struggling club at that time, and and Ipswich were Colin Duncan was the manager at the time I spoke to. And I just felt that Millwall was the right one for me, because you get that feeling. Now, I look at Arsenal as probably, because I think he could do the Xhaka role really well. I think he'll always get goals, Mason. He's got a great eye for a goal. He's a good finisher. He will get enough goals. He will chip in along. He's very capable of getting 10-plus goals a season, Mason. And I think Arsenal... But then you've got 4 really top managers. You've got Arteta. You've got, obviously, Bayern Munich with Tuchel. You've got Jurgen Klopp. And you've got Ten Hag. I mean, you've got 4 of the best 10, 15, 20 managers in world football. So it's a really tough one. I would say that Arsenal feels like the most natural fit of how they play for him. Do Liverpool have an attacking midfielder? Because obviously they lost Naby Keita. That didn't work out.
Sure.
Obviously Ox is a similar type of player. They might want another one, and they see Mount. So I get that. I would probably go slightly Arsenal first, and then Liverpool. Fernandes have got an attacking midfielder in Man United. So I'm not so sure if he's so needed there. Look, the bottom line is, do you want to go abroad? Do you want to play your football here? Which club, who your agents or your representative are going to speak to? Which one excites you the most? I think it's not about money. This is not going to be a bidding war for Mason, because whoever he goes to, he's going to get, a shed load of money. It's all about making the right decision that he thinks is best for his career here and now. And you can only make that decision until you met people and how you feel about the move.
So what is it about him that you think would be perfect in replacing Xhaka, who it looks as though could be leaving
that freedom role? He's great at the freedom role. Not be a winger, but be a midfielder that breaks in behind defenders and gets in the 18-yard box to get goals. That's where Mason is really, really good. The only thing I've heard is that there's a lot more expectation on Smith Rowe at Arsenal next year.
Yeah.
So would he be challenging for that spot? Because Smith Rowe had a very strange season, a lot of injuries, didn't quite get going, but there's a real talent there with Smith Rowe. So I do think that he can do that role really well, as long as he's not an out wide winger. He's not really quick enough to be a natural winger. But if you pull him inside and get him behind a forward, he's really good at joining.
So you're thinking a number 10 kind of role? Or are you thinking like go on.
More versatile than a number 10.
Yeah.
The number 10 to me would be slightly different. He's dropping in spaces, picking up the ball. I see him driving into the 18-yard box. Because if you think of Xhaka during the course of the season, he got his numbers up. It's because he was allowed to go. Once Arsenal and Odegaard gets on the ball, he goes.
That's hence the freedom kind of role.
Yes, that he goes into the 18-yard box, and he does that really, really well. And I think he's capable of getting 10-plus goals every season he plays. As long as he stays fit, Mason will get goals. He's a really good finisher.
And in terms of Arsenal, it would fit the mould of the young player route that they have been bringing into this side. Yes, they've got experience with Xhaka and a few others, but obviously we've seen the emergence of such a young squad being, the youngest in the Premier League. So it kind of would fit that mould as well.
Yeah. Look, they're all exciting clubs.
Of course.
We're talking, it just staggers me that Chelsea have not tried to nail him down. They spent 600 million on players and they don't nail down one of their own. I find that really, really strange. How they've let that happen, I don't know. Look, they're trying to bring down the salary cap, to at the top end. It's been very, very high at Chelsea. So you're okay. You go and spend 85 million on a player, but you don't want to pay them the wages that maybe other clubs will pay. I don't quite get that.
Yeah, well, like we said already, there's probably going to be a few outgoings at Chelsea just because of the ridiculously large squad that they have. But you'd like to think Mauricio Pochettino, if he is, bizarre, we're still waiting on confirmation of this one, by the way.
But what a place to be, eh? Think of the 4 managers you could speak to and go to and play under. Yeah, it's just a dream for a player.
Yeah, but you'd like to think that Pochettino, if he is coming in, we'll already be having these conversations with Mason Mount or whoever it is, just to work out, maybe I do want you here, actually. We don't want to let go of you just yet. But anyway, we will see.